Hey there, friends. Tired of managing symptoms and struggling for answers? This holistic podcast guides you beyond one-size-fits-all advice to uncover root cause health solutions. I'm Holly Jean Mullen, your functional nutritional therapist host. Drawing from over a decade of clinical and personal experience, I'm here to help you overcome chronic issues like thyroid problems, autoimmune conditions, hormone imbalances, inflammation, weight loss resistance, the list goes on. This isn't generic advice. It's a comprehensive, personalized plan covering nutrition, mindset, and environment. Tune in for practical education, expert guests, real stories, and coaching to help identify what's keeping you stuck. It's time to understand your unique needs and tap into your God-given ability to heal by honoring nature's wisdom. Your transformation starts here. Let's go. Hello. Welcome back to Real Health Transformations podcast. And today we are talking about ozone therapy and detoxification and how using them together can transform your health. And we just have to be real here. Like, we are living in a world that just feels more toxic day by day. And I don't mean that like a fear-mongering way, but we're honestly hearing something all the time about, the next thing that wants to kill you, basically. I know that's being a little bit dramatic, but it's true. It's like we keep hearing about things that are bad for our health. This is bad for you. This is going to do this. This is going to do that. And it's one thing like to just want to ignore it and put your head in the sand. Like, I get that too. Thinking, what's the point? Everything's going to kill me. So, YOLO. Or we can say, you know what? Yeah, there are things out there that are going to be harming my health, but there is also things that I can do to protect myself. And so let's do that. I feel like there is some balance, but between the industrial pollution, the heavy metals, infections, like our bodies are just constantly under attack from things in our environment. So it's really not that surprising why so many people feel tired or sick or just stuck in these cycles of chronic illness. And even if you eat well or live a healthy lifestyle, it can still be hard to stay ahead of the damage that is caused by our environment. And so instead of being in like this reactive mode, we can be proactive. That is the good news. We don't have to just accept it. We don't have to just settle for surviving in this toxic soup that we live in, when we really can be proactive. We can do things to protect ourselves. We can do things to minimize our exposures. And a couple of the powerful tools that I like talking about are detoxification and ozone therapy. Those are two of my favorite things. Those are two things that I use myself, I use in my family, but also I use with my clients, and I see them make a difference. And it doesn't have to be this big like ordeal. Now, if you're like me, when you hear the word detox, it might just make you roll your eyes. I get it. It is just cringe because that word is just slapped on so many products and programs because it is a catchy marketing buzzword, but it's put on or associated with things that really don't do jack crap. They don't deliver. Most of it's total BS, but true detoxification, there'll be something that I talk about in a future episode, especially like coming up quick, because we're going into the new year and everyone's going to be selling some kind of program to restart or detox. And it's on my list of irritation. So I do want to break down what detoxification is, because it's not in a single supplement, and it's not in a 7-day shake package. I'll just say that. But let's talk today about breaking things down in a simple way, a practical way for using ozone coupled with detox therapies or on its own. Those are the things I want to talk about today. Before we dive in, I just have to do my CYA. Got to make it clear that this episode is for informational and educational purposes only. This is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. So I am going to share insights on detoxification and ozone therapy, but please consult a qualified healthcare practitioner before starting any new treatments, therapies, or health protocols, especially if you have a medical condition or are currently already under care. Every individual is unique, and what works for one person might not be suitable or appropriate for another. So always prioritize your safety and just make informed decisions with professional guidance. Okay, so let's dive in. I want to start with detoxification. And I heard this analogy one time and it kind of stuck with me because I like it. It paints a clear picture. So if you think of your body as a car, like we want our cars to last for a long time. We want to get several 100,000 miles out of our cars. And in the case of our bodies, like we want our bodies to last a long time too. But just like with our cars, we can't expect our cars to last a long time if we don't perform regular maintenance. Same thing for our bodies. Most of us are running on engines, our body, that are just full of sludge. We have years of exposure to heavy metals, chemicals, environmental toxins. Those are things that are all quietly wearing us down, and we might not even realize it. And a lot of times it just gets chalked up to aging, but it doesn't have to be that way. Kind of a scary fact that you may or may not have heard before, but is that our toxic load starts even before we're born. There are studies that show how babies are born with significant levels of lead, mercury, other chemicals already in their systems. And these toxins are passed down from the mom to the fetus during pregnancy, and it goes through the placenta. It happens during the most critical exposure times, with like during that first trimester and when major organs are forming. And if we think about toxins like lead, lead is stored in a mother's bones, and that gets released during pregnancy. Pregnancy can be thought of as a form of detoxification, unfortunately. And mercury, if you have silver fillings, amalgam fillings, that's mercury that gets passed on to our babies. Leads to nervous system damage, like enough mercury. We have endocrine disruptors like BPA, all sorts of chemicals from plastic. It doesn't have to be just BPA. I know BPA has been banned, but BPA is just one chemical structure in an entire class of very similar chemicals. So we ban BPA, but all they have to do is just change a single molecular chemical structure, and it's basically the same thing, but they can say, oh, it's not BPA. See, it's a little bit different. It's still doing the same damage. Plastics are damaging our bodies. The same thing with phthalates and personal care products. These mess with our hormones. They do have long-term health impacts. And these toxins, they lead to everything from lower IQ, they lead to developmental delays, autoimmune disorders, chronic diseases. We cannot discount them, especially when we just keep seeing these illnesses and issues continuing to increase and rise. Right? But it's not just about what's happening in the womb. Over time, our exposure to industrial pollutants, pesticides, these airborne chemicals, they pile on, they pile up. It creates this heavy burden for our bodies to handle. And this is what contributes to issues like declining fertility rates, ADHD, autism, even those conditions that we do consider normal signs of aging. They're not. It's this toxic load that we're carrying, and it's affecting us in profound ways. And so we really do need to do something about it. And that's where detoxification comes in, as well as minimizing exposure. But let's talk about ozone therapy. Now, when most people hear the word ozone, they think of smog or warnings of air pollution. If you're around my age, you probably remember hearing about the hole in the ozone and all sorts of stuff. I remember as a kid, there's a hole in the ozone layer. But medical grade ozone is completely different than the ozone we think of in our environment from like smog. Nature, it has like this cleanup crew, and that could be where medical ozone comes in. It's like a cleanup crew. It can clear out infections, repair cells, and restore balance. And it works by inducing a controlled, mild stressor to your body, something known as a hermetic stress. So kind of like how exercise or sitting in the sauna, those are stressors on the body, but they are good stressors. These are things that contribute to healing responses. Now, they can be overdone, but when done appropriately, then we can have some really powerful healing. So ozone is really just oxygen with an extra molecule. So oxygen is O2, ozone is O3. That extra molecule acts like an electron stealer. It can target harmful invaders in the body and boost cellular health. You may have heard of Dr. Gary Gordon. He's a detox and ozone therapy expert, and he has a quote where he says, "Ozone is like a miracle worker, but it's misunderstood." I love that. People just assume ozone is bad because of its association with pollution, but in its pure form, ozone really can save lives. So ozone therapy kills bacteria, viruses, and infections. It can be especially effective for treating conditions like Lyme disease, candida, even antibiotic resistant infections, and mold toxicity. So that's what actually got me into trying ozone, was when we moved from mold. And it's just helpful in reducing inflammation. It can improve circulation. It also can give your mitochondria a boost. And more information is coming out about how mitochondrial health is really the root cause of most diseases. And we keep like always trying to get to that root cause. And for a long time, we've been saying it's inflammation. And now, yes, that's true. Inflammation is a big driver of disease, but on a more micro level, it's also the mitochondria. So let's talk about where things kind of get exciting. So when we can pair detox and ozone therapy, it's like this little like love connection, because detox clears out harmful toxins. Ozone is what's helping your body repair and regenerate. So together they address that root cause of like a lot of chronic conditions. Together they allow your body to really function its best. And Dr. Gordon shares a story about a woman that he worked with who had debilitating fatigue and chronic infections, very similar to clients that I work with. And she just felt like she was barely surviving. She'd like lived her whole life just not feeling well. It was her normal. And after incorporating some detox therapies and some ozone therapy, she not only just regained her energy, but she finally felt what it felt like to feel good and to feel like herself, like she'd never even really known herself in a way of feeling good. So it was actually a really powerful story. And this is the kind of transformation that's possible when you give your body the right tools. Now, ozone therapy can sound intimidating, but it's actually pretty simple to use at home. And the most common places people start with are referred to as like the big three applications. And that's going to be your rectal insufflation. You can do ozonated water or oil, and ear insufflation. Ear insufflation is the one that I use the most. It can be done daily for colds, sore throat, head issues. You can use it for more like localized issues from the neck up. For chronic issues, you can use it 2 to 5 times a week. But you just want to be mindful because it can cause irritation if you use it too much or do too many sessions in a week. So you just got to make sure you don't overdo it. I've used it for sinus congestion and infections, poor blood flow to the head, chronic inflammation in the cranial area, even mitochondrial dysfunction, maybe in the brain. There's a lot of relation to it for being an effective treatment for migraines just because of these things, because sometimes migraines are caused by sinus congestion or infection or poor blood flow or inflammation, mitochondrial issues. So it has promising results for migraine therapies too. Ear ozone insufflation, it has a lot of relief for individuals suffering from migraines, and also because it's non-invasive. So it's a preferred treatment. It's nice. It can permeate. It goes in through your ears and it can permeate the nearby structures. So you're just using it like through a stethoscope, or actually they have these new headphone looking things out now that I'm going to be getting on their Black Friday sale. But it goes in through your ears and it can deliver therapeutic benefits to your brain, your sinuses, your central nervous system. And it does this by improving oxygen in those available tissues. For those whose migraines might be linked to chronic infections or sinus issues, ozone has an antimicrobial property to it that can help eliminate bacteria, viruses, fungal issues that might be contributing to that problem. And also, ozone is supporting neurological health by enhancing that mitochondrial function. It's also going to modulate the release of nitric oxide, which can play a significant role also in reducing migraine symptoms. So it's great because the therapy is like quick, it's straightforward. You're not doing it for very long. It's typically only 15 minutes of ear insufflation, and it's pretty simple, and most individuals are going to report noticeable pain relief shortly after treatment when they're doing it for migraines. I see really quick turnaround with improvement overnight when using it for things like sinus infections or ear infections even, or anything in the head. So that's ear insufflation. That's what I use it most for. Rectal insufflation or vaginal insufflation are also very popular, and that is going to deliver more of a systemic benefit. So it could be kind of mimicking the same effects of intravenous ozone, but I don't know too many people that are going to be popping an IV on themselves in a home environment. And so doing it this way is much more accessible. And this method is going to deliver ozone like directly into your system. It's also going to boost energy, stamina, and immunity. And then the other thing of the big three application is going to be ozonated water. And that's going to be a great tool for supporting gut health. And it's surprisingly really simple to incorporate into your routine. What we're doing here is you're taking the ozone gas and you're infusing it into water, and it's creating this antimicrobial solution that really is just water, and it just has kind of like a little bit of a different taste. It's not too bad. You can mix it with some lemon or electrolytes. It's going to be gentle on the body, but it's pretty tough on harmful bacteria, viruses, fungus. When you're consuming it, the ozonated water helps balance your gut microbiome. It targets pathogenic organisms, but it also leaves the beneficial bacteria largely intact. And so it's really helpful for addressing issues like candida overgrowth, SIBO, so that's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and other gut imbalances that can be causing bloating, discomfort, or inflammation there. And if we're looking beyond its antimicrobial properties, ozonated water is also going to boost oxygen in the gut. So that's going to promote better digestion, better absorption of your nutrients that you're getting from your food. And since ozone has anti-inflammatory effects, it's also going to help soothe your gut lining and support gut healing. So if you are working on doing some gut healing, ozone can be a really beneficial treatment therapy to add in, especially if you're working on things like leaky gut or IBS. So it's easy to make at home with an ozone generator. It's safe to drink when you're using it properly. And like I said, anyone just looking to improve their gut health naturally, ozonated water is going to be something you want to consider. Okay, so that was rectal insufflation, ozonated water, ear insufflation. Let me see. What am I missing? Okay, so those are the big three. There are other things that you can do. You can do like topical ozone treatment with ozone water or ozone oils. You can do limb bagging, or you can do things on the skin for wound healing. There are so many different things that you can do. So those are just kind of like the top three. Now, this is a question I get all the time. It's like, since it's killing off these harmful things, what about the good stuff? How come it's not just killing everything? And with ozone, it selectively targets harmful bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens while leaving the beneficial bacteria largely unaffected. And that's just due to the differences in their structural and environmental characteristics. So if we look at pathogens, if we're looking at harmful bacteria, viruses, fungus, those often have thinner or less robust protective barriers when we're comparing them to like the beneficial bacteria. Ozone is going to attack the lipid membranes, the cell walls, or even like the protein structures of the harmful microorganisms, and that causes them to break down and die. And many of the beneficial bacteria in the gut, like the lactobacillus and the biodifbacterium, I can never say these things. Biodif, whatever, the good stuff. Those have more robust protective mechanisms. So think of them as having like a thicker cell wall, or they even just have a different metabolic environment. And those are things that are going to make them less susceptible to the oxidative effects of the ozone. And how we're using the ozone is a little bit different too. Since ozone doesn't linger in the body in its gas form, it's going to react pretty quickly with pathogens and other organic matter, and it's going to leave behind oxygen and harmless byproducts. And so it's kind of like this rapid release reaction when the ozone comes into counter with these things, and it's not significantly disrupting our complex environment that we have going on in the gut microbiome. So there's kind of an indirect benefit also. So by reducing the pathogenic overgrowths, ozone therapy can help restore balance in the microbiome by allowing the beneficial bacteria to thrive, because we're getting rid of the competing harmful organisms like Candida or even pathogenic E. coli. Those things can crowd out our good bacteria. So we're targeting them indirectly, and that's going to support the overall health of our beneficial microbes. So kind of to summarize or recap, that is like ozone's reaction is more targeted and controlled. It's sparing the beneficial bacteria while addressing the harmful microorganisms. So it has a quick breakdown into oxygen. It's not lingering in the body to cause unnecessary disruption to our natural body balances. Now, all that said, we also need to talk safety and precautions, because ozone therapy is incredibly safe when used correctly, but there are things that we have to keep in mind. Number one is, don't breathe ozone. It can irritate your lungs. So you always want to use it in a ventilated area or wear a mask. You never want to directly breathe ozone. Also, you want to start slow. You want to start with low time and low dose and just gradually increase as your body adjusts, so you don't risk causing a major detox reaction and feeling really crappy. One thing we can do always when using ozone, but also to help mitigate any kind of detox reaction or detox response, Herxheimer response you might experience, is to take a binder before doing ozone therapy. I recommend like 30 minutes beforehand, at least up to an hour. So like that 30 to 60 minute window before doing ozone therapy to help minimize detox symptoms, especially if you are addressing a chronic health issue or if you think you might have significant toxic load. excuse me, I almost just sneezed there. If you picture ozone as working like your body's cleanup crew, it is going to identify those harmful pathogens like the bacteria, the viruses, the things I've already mentioned. It's going to break them down. It does this by targeting their weak spots. Like I mentioned, their cell walls. It's using oxidation to destroy them. So if you think of it as like this intense burst of energy that's scrubbing away bad stuff and leaving your healthy cells. But also, when ozone is killing off these pathogens, it can also release toxins and waste into your system. And it can also stimulate the release of heavy metals, pesticides, other metabolic waste from the cells into your bloodstream. And so that's why I recommend a binder, because a binder can just kind of help catch those toxins and make sure that they are bound up in the binder and removed from the body. We want them excreted to reduce the risk of them being reabsorbed. So it's so important to just make sure you are eliminating regularly before doing any of this, before starting any kind of detox treatment or therapy. You want to make sure your body is eliminating daily. So that means you need to be pooping at least once a day. If you are not, that is step one. So ozone therapy is fantastic. First, make sure you're pooping. So kind of to paint another picture or analogy here, if you think of like using ozone almost like a demolition project, and it's going to leave behind some debris. So that's where you want to bring in these binders. They are the mop, the vacuum, or like the cleanup crew that's going to sweep away all the leftover mess. Some binders like activated charcoal or bentonite clay, those are going to like grab onto these toxins and just like get them out of the body so you don't feel overwhelmed, so you don't experience detox symptoms. So I like ozone and binders together. They're like this perfect team. Ozone is clearing out the bad, and the binders are just making sure that the cleanup is smooth and effective. If you are not familiar with taking binders, you always want to take them about 30 minutes to an hour before doing any kind of detox treatment, as we're talking about ozone therapy here. And you just want to make sure that it's so that it's has time to be digested and like absorbed in the gut, so that when those toxins are released, the binder is there to catch it. You also want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water with your binder, just to kind of help flush out those toxins more effectively. And you always want to take binders away from food, supplements, medications, because they could also absorb nutrients or they could absorb medication. So I want at least an hour, but 2 hours is the safe bet. So 2 hours before and after taking binders. Again, just reiterating, if you're going to be starting this, you do want to start slow on time, slow on the dose. Be sure you're listening to your body, because if you are experiencing significant detox symptoms, that might indicate that you need more support. And it could be anything from additional hydration to mineral replenishment to just starting at a lower dose. That's why it's always important to at least consult a practitioner, especially if you do have chronic or complex conditions. Work with someone who's knowledgeable and can help you navigate making adjustments. This is definitely something I do in my practice. And if you have not started detox therapies before working with someone who is trained in this, I recommend that you do. It doesn't have to be a forever thing, but when you're just starting out, working with someone who can help you just kind of navigating the dosing, navigating the timing, making adjustments for you specifically and your conditions and how you are feeling, is going to be worth its weight in gold. So really what I love about being able to do ozone at home, or just to treat yourself at home, it's really about empowerment. It's about taking control of your health and empowering your body to heal, because detoxification is clearing out the clutter. Ozone therapy is going to activate your body's natural intelligence. It's creating this perfect environment for healing. And I don't feel like that's something that we always have to go to a clinic to have to do. I don't want to be dependent upon someone else or someplace else to be able to take care of my body. So, first step, if you want to do more or learn more about doing ozone, do your own research. I'll share what I know. This is just a short podcast. This is just scratching the surface to give you an idea of what ozone can be used for. Definitely do your own research. You want to look into detox options and consider incorporating ozone into your life. And it doesn't have to be just for detox. It can be used for all sorts of health benefits. So if you want to get started, I definitely recommend investing in a home ozone generator, because it really is a quick and easy way to put that tool back in your hands instead of relying on someone else. Right now, Simply O3 is having their Black Friday sale, which has 35% off. That is the kit that I use, the brand that I use. And I also bought it on a Black Friday sale almost 4 years ago. Their entire website is 35% off until Sunday, December 1st. So I am recording this on November 26th. So you still have time. But last year they sold out of like 90% of their stock before the sale ended. So shop sooner than later. And I want to share deals with you, because I would not have bought it at full price. That 35% off really is significant and makes it a lot more doable. So as we wrap up this episode, I just want you to know I will put the link to the Simply O3 kit that I got. I will put that in the show notes, a link there along with what I purchased. And since we're going into Thanksgiving this week, I just want to thank you for being here. And thank you for taking your time out of your day to listen to me on my podcast and to learn more about ways to take care of your health. I really do feel a lot of gratitude for my listeners and for this little community that we're building together. So whether you're just starting out here and starting listening with me, or just whether you're starting new on your health journey, or whether you've been in it for a while, just congrats to you and a pat on the back for showing your commitment to learning, because I do get inspired by you guys and your growth and the success stories that you share with me. And yeah, as we reflect on the things that we're thankful for this week, I just encourage you to take a moment and appreciate your body and its resilience and its ability to heal and the way it supports you every single day. Even if we have complaints about it, our body is there for you. And it truly is looking out for you every single day. So taking steps to learn about detoxification or ozone therapy, I consider that an act of love and gratitude towards yourself. So pat yourself on the back for that, because it is something to celebrate. And again, I'm just grateful for you, for the stories you guys share, and for the thoughtful questions you ask me, and for the encouragement you bring into this space and online on Instagram. So as always, I am here cheering you on, and I pray that your Thanksgiving is blessed with love and warmth and meaningful connection with those that you love and hold dear. So thank you again for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to Real Health Transformations. I appreciate you joining me. If you found value in what we covered today, I'd be grateful if you could leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. It really helps spread the word and just helps me get the show out to more people and lets more people find us. And if you'd like to submit a question for me to answer on a coaching episode, or to apply to be a live guest on a coaching episode, check out the show notes on how to contact me for that. The show is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. As always, please consult your trusted doctor or medical professional before making health and lifestyle changes. I'll catch you next time on Real Health Transformations.